A cargo ship, middle of nowhere, no escort, no weapons, just floating, waiting. Then chaos. 240 pirates, 31 boats, one ship. What happened next changed everything. The US Navy's most devastating response in years. And it all started with a vessel that looked completely defenseless. It wasn't a battleship cutting through the waves. There was no destroyer escort flanking its sides. Just a quiet supply vessel drifting alone in open waters carrying what appeared to be routine fuel and equipment to support a nearby US aircraft carrier somewhere in the Red Sea. The morning sun cast long shadows across its modest deck, and to anyone watching from a distance, it looked like the easiest target imagined. No one expected that just minutes later, this unremarkable ship would become the center of one of the boldest attacks the US Navy has faced in recent years. From the horizon, dozens of pirate speedboats rushed forward like manned missiles, loud engines screaming across the water, fast hulls cutting through the waves, and heavily armed crews manning machine guns and rocket-propelled grenades. They moved in perfect formation with military-grade coordination and overwhelming firepower that suggested this was far more than random maritime piracy. Within minutes of their arrival, the deck was covered in smoke, blood, and the chaos of a full-scale assault that had been planned with precision and executed with deadly efficiency. On the morning of July 5th, 2025, the USS Liberty was making steady progress along the dangerous waters off the Somali coast, appearing to the outside world as nothing more than a harmless civilian cargo vessel. However, hidden deep below deck in reinforced compartments was something far more valuable than anyone could have imagined. Strategic military cargo, including specialized jet fuel, high explosive munitions, and most critically, advanced radar components and missile guidance systems essential for American aircraft carriers and F-35 operations throughout the entire Red Sea region. This wasn't just another routine logistics run. It was a vital supply chain link holding together the operational reach of US naval power across one of the world's most strategically important regions. The cargo bay contained classified radar modules designed to upgrade America's most advanced missile defense platforms, technology capable of tracking and intercepting hypersonic weapons from Russia and China. These components were worth more than most countries spend on their entire defense budgets. Yet, despite its incredible importance to national security, the ship sailed without a heavy destroyer escort, without air cover, and without the visible protection that might have deterred potential attackers. Instead, it relied entirely on secrecy, disguise, and the hope that its true mission would remain hidden from hostile eyes. That calculated gamble didn't pay off. Suddenly, at exactly 9:26 in the morning, 31 pirate boats surged out of the coastal mist, racing toward the unsuspecting vessel at maximum speed. Within moments, over 240 heavily armed pirates had surrounded the ship from all directions, triggering a well-organized, full-scale assault that demonstrated planning, resources, and tactical knowledge that went far beyond typical maritime piracy. These attackers weren't acting out of desperation. They were armed with military-grade RPGs, belt-fed heavy machine guns, close-quarters combat gear, and communication equipment that allowed them to coordinate their movements with precision that suggested extensive military training. The pirates executed a structured, multi-phase attack plan. A covering group of boats stayed back at optimal firing range to lay down continuous suppressive fire, while multiple specialized boarding teams advanced under that protective umbrella, using climbing ropes, assault ladders, and breaching equipment to overwhelm the deck from multiple access points simultaneously. Smoke grenades and psychological warfare tactics were deployed to confuse and disorient the crew, showing that this was far more than an attempted robbery. This was a carefully planned tactical operation designed to cripple US logistics capabilities in the region. The attack happened at exactly 4:14 in the morning, and it changed everything within the first few minutes. Armed pirates stormed the American supply ship using coordinated assault tactics. 5 US sailors were shot and killed before they could even reach their weapons. 3 others were wounded in the initial assault and immediately taken hostage. These pirates moved like a small commando unit with clear objectives. Their operation was silent during the approach, fast during execution, and methodical as they cleared the ship room by room. The attackers believed they had achieved complete control of the vessel and its valuable cargo. They had eliminated resistance, secured the deck, and established perimeter security. But there was one critical element missing from their headcount. The ship's captain, a retired US Navy officer with decades of experience, had managed to evade capture during the initial assault and was hiding in the engine room deep in the bowels of the ship. While the pirates were focused on securing the upper decks, Captain Williams pressed a hidden emergency switch that sent out an encrypted military distress signal, completely silent to everyone except those who needed to hear it. That signal bypassed all civilian communication networks and went straight through military channels, bouncing off encrypted satellites and reaching the USS George H.W. Bush carrier strike group, which was conducting operations less than 70 miles away. The pirates didn't hear a single sound, but the Navy was already mobilizing for a response that would be swift, overwhelming, and absolutely ruthless. When the encrypted distress signal was received by the carrier group's command center, the Navy didn't treat this like a typical hostage crisis. Instead, they immediately activated a Level 4 strategic response protocol reserved exclusively for direct threats to U.S. national security. The order came down from Fleet Command: recover the ship immediately using all necessary force. Within exactly 90 seconds of receiving the emergency alert, the entire carrier strike group switched to full combat readiness. Fighter jets were prepped for immediate launch, with pilots already in cockpits. Aegis-equipped destroyers aligned their radar arrays to track every movement within a 100-mile radius. A hidden GPS tracker embedded in the cargo provided real-time location updates. Overhead, a surveillance drone locked onto the hijacked vessel and began sending back high-definition images of armed pirates walking around the deck, completely unaware they were being watched from above. Electronic warfare teams aboard the carrier activated powerful jammers to block all outside communication. Navy SEALs suited up in full combat gear and prepared for vertical insertion operations. This kind of mission requires perfect coordination between speed, precision, and overwhelming surprise. And now, every part of the massive fleet was in coordinated motion, all focused on a single objective: take back that ship and eliminate every threat. The entire operation was split into 3 coordinated waves, each launched within exactly 9 minutes of receiving the initial emergency alert. The first wave involved the MQ-25 Stingray, an unmanned reconnaissance drone launched from the USS George H.W. Bush. It reached the hijacked ship in under 5 minutes, flying at high altitude with stealth capabilities. Its mission was comprehensive intelligence gathering, identifying all hostile positions, mapping heat signatures, and detecting any escort boats nearby. This wasn't just about locating the target. The drone fed real-time data to the command center, allowing precise planning for successive waves. By the time the second wave launched, the Navy knew exactly where every enemy combatant was positioned, what weapons they possessed, and how they had organized their defenses. Next came the FA-18 Super Hornets, twin-engine fighter jets that launched from the carrier at full military power. They arrived above the hijacked ship within exactly 2 minutes. Their mission specific: disable external communications, eliminate enemy sensors, and destroy any pirate boats attempting to flee. One precision-guided missile took out a nearby speedboat armed with a heavy machine gun. Another jet dropped a coordinated flare barrage to suppress enemy vision and create confusion. The psychological effect was immediate, as the sound of jet engines and exploding ordnance created panic among pirates who had never faced this level of military firepower. Precision was everything. The jets had to neutralize enemy capabilities without damaging the critical cargo or harming American hostages. By the time the smoke cleared, the pirates were trapped, disoriented, and surrounded by destruction they couldn't understand. The third and final wave represented the culmination of Navy training. MH-60 Seahawk helicopters carrying over 300 Navy special operators. These helicopters lifted off simultaneously from multiple ships, approaching at low altitude and maximum speed to avoid detection. Each helicopter carried a full squad trained in close quarters combat, shipboarding techniques, and hostage rescue operation. The helicopter insertion was executed with textbook precision. The first team fast roped onto the rear deck, while the second team simultaneously hit the command tower. A third team breached directly into the cargo hold to secure the critical radar equipment. The pirates, confident in their victory just minutes earlier, suddenly found themselves facing the most elite warriors in the American military. Some pirates immediately dropped their weapons when they realized the scale of the force descending upon them. Others tried to fight back using small arms, but they were instantly neutralized by operators using night vision, superior training, and overwhelming firepower. Within exactly 4 minutes of the first helicopter touching down, the entire ship was under complete U.S. control, with American flags flying from every mast. Operation Thunder was successful because every system involved operated as a single integrated weapon system. Data collected by reconnaissance drones was instantly relayed to fighter pilots, who passed critical information to SEALs in flight. Military satellites ensured enemy jammers couldn't block the operation. The USS Liberty itself, acting as the floating command center, processed every signal and piece of battlefield information in real time. With just a handful of officers supported by AI-assisted systems, it tracked 127 individual targets, directed 3 types of aircraft, and managed a combat team of 300 operators within exactly 600 seconds, but the Navy wasn't finished. Retaking the ship was only the first step. The real goal was ensuring this could never happen again, and that meant targeting the heavily fortified base, where the attack had been planned and launched. Located 7 nautical miles inland from the Somali coast, the pirate stronghold had been operating for nearly a decade as a fully operational smuggling hub, where stolen military equipment, weapons, and sophisticated technology regularly passed through underground networks. The strike order was unambiguous: completely eradicate the pirate base and send a message no hostile organization would ever forget. FF's A-18 Super Hornets launched the first wave, flying at high altitude and dropping JDAM satellite-guided bombs capable of hitting within inches of their targets. The command bunker collapsed within seconds. MQ-9 Reaper drones moved in low, firing Hellfire missiles into arms depots and communication towers. One missile struck a hidden ammunition dump, causing a chain explosion that leveled the eastern section of the compound. CH-53 Sea Stallion helicopters brought in over 150 U.S. Marines who landed outside the smoking ruins. Their orders were direct: sweep the area, secure all intelligence, and capture any commanders still alive. The ground battle was short and precise. Marines used thermal vision and tactical drones to track pirates hiding in tunnels and damaged buildings. Some resisted and were neutralized instantly. Others surrendered immediately. By operation's end, over 500 pirates were confirmed eliminated, and multiple high-level leaders were captured. The entire compound was destroyed beyond reconstruction. No power, no radar, no weapons remain. In just 20 minutes, a decade-old pirate empire had been turned to ashes. This wasn't just a military victory, but a political signal. After years of what critics called weak deterrence, America had struck back hard and fast. The USS Liberty had appeared to be nothing more than a simple cargo ship, lightly armed and easy prey. But that assessment represented a fatal misunderstanding of modern American military strategy. This ship wasn't transporting routine supplies. It carried classified radar systems to upgrade missile defense platforms, monitoring hypersonic weapons and stealth aircraft. If stolen or sabotaged, these components could have compromised America's entire defense posture across the region. The Pentagon understood this critical nature, which is why within minutes of hijacking, the situation escalated to national security threat level. The response activated a carrier strike group, Reaper drones, and Marine assault forces. The pirates thought they were stealing cargo. In reality, they had attacked a moving component of America's most advanced defense network, designed to neutralize global threats before they reach American soil. For years, adversaries have tested America's patience, mistaking restraint for weakness. But when deterrence fails, the U.S. military responds fast and without hesitation. This mission proved exactly that. The pirates didn't just misjudge their target, they misread the message behind it. They thought the ship was undefended and unimportant. Instead, they triggered one of the fastest joint force counterattacks in recent history. The lesson is clear. America protects every link in its military chain, not just those carrying missiles and guns. The ship was defended like an airbase because it played a similar role. In today's world, there are no non-combat missions. Every supply vessel is a strategic asset, and the Navy treats it as such. This operation showed that America doesn't just fight on front lines. It defends radar technology, refueling operations, and supply ships with the same strength and speed as any combat unit. When the flag is flying, whether on a base or a boat, no one attacks it without consequences. That warning didn't come through diplomatic statements. It came through missiles, Marines, and a 20-minute campaign that erased an entire pirate empire. This counterattack was more than a rescue. It was a demonstration of how America combines drones, special forces, air power, and electronic warfare into one deadly system. The enemy didn't just lose fighters, they lost their base, momentum, and influence in the region. The cost of testing US power wasn't a diplomatic delay or strongly worded speech, it was complete destruction. Whenever someone targets an American supply line, they should expect a response made of fire and steel. The flag isn't just a symbol, it's a line in the sand. And once that line is crossed, the result is always the same: swift, overwhelming force that erases the threat entirely.